Welcome back to She Will Empower. I'm your host, Jessica Cherry. I'm a strategic intervention and empowerment coach, an NLP practitioner, an award winning writer, a community director, your resident sound bath girly, and your Tuesday morning wake up club host on 94.3 KWVH Wimberley Valley Radio. And we bring real talk, real tools, and real empowerment straight to the airwaves. And if this is your first time here, welcome. You did not find this episode by accident. Today, I want to talk about something that comes up every single year, making next year your best year yet. And I know, we say that every year. But here's the truth that most people don't want to face. Many of us are not living New Year's energy, right? We're living the same year on repeat, just with a different calendar year. So we live the same patterns, the same stress, the same arguments, the same habits, the same self talk, and the same comfort zone year after year. It's just a different number. And comfort zones, oh, those are sneaky, sneaky little things because they feel safe. They feel like a warm, cozy blanket, but they actually keep us stuck. So today, instead of giving you resolutions, instead of giving you a list of things to fix, instead of telling you to hustle harder or reinvent yourself overnight, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you 6 powerful questions. They're not surface level questions. They are clarifying questions to your life. They're insight questions. They're truth revealing questions. They are questions to give you a good look at yourself and where you are. And if you actually take the time to answer them honestly and not perfectly or politely, honestly, they will change how you step into 2026. But before we dive into 6 questions, I want to talk about New Year's resolutions for just a moment. Because every single year, and you know this as well as I do, around January 1st, something predictable happens. Suddenly, the gym is packed and jam packed. Everybody's on a treadmill. Everybody's doing weights. Everybody's trying their best they can. Everybody's drinking some sort of green juice. Everybody's on a diet. Everyone's motivated. Everyone has a new version of themselves, and it's wonderful. And then 2 weeks later happens, and it all fizzles. And we slide right back into our familiar patterns. And let me say, it's not because we're lazy. We're not. And it's not because we don't want to change badly enough, because we do. It's because change requires process, not just intention. Which brings me to a story from earlier today, actually. I've been a brunette for a long time. And today I went to the salon and I walked in with the energy of, I want something different, right? That's what the energy that I walked in with. And it's probably because, the new year's changing and I want to feel something different. You know the feeling. Not because anything is wrong, because there's not, but because something inside is whispering, it's time. So I told my stylist today, I want a makeover. Transform me. And she immediately said yes. And then I immediately became impatient. I wanted to see every single step in the mirror when I was sitting down. I wanted to take pictures of every single step and I wanted to rush the process. I wanted the before and the after really quick without the middle. And at one point, she looked at me and said, Jessica, just trust the process, my dear. And it hit me because that is exactly how we approach our lives. We want the result. We want the outcome. We want the glow up. We want it right away. Even if it's the healed version or the aligned version, we want it instant, right? And we get uncomfortable with the process. And in this episode, I'm going to give you 6 questions, and those questions, they are the process. Because here's the thing, reflection, it is a process. Reflection is a process, and growth is a process. Healing is a process. And instant gratification has trained us to believe that if it doesn't happen quickly, then it's not working. Right? I want it instant and I can't have it instant. And if it's not instant, it's not working. But here's the real transformation. Transformation happens when you're willing to sit down with yourself long enough to hear the truth. So today, I want you to trust the process. I want you to slow down. And I want you to actually be present with these questions. You might want to get a notebook. You might want to pause this episode and go grab it or grab your laptop. You might want to write things down. And you might want to come back to this more than once. So save this episode. That is intentional. All right. Because the goal here isn't just to set goals. That's not the goal of this podcast. The goal is to create a year that actually feels fulfilling to you. All right. Are you ready? All right. Let's go. Question number 1 is, what are the highlights of the past year for you? What were your highlights? Now, before we talk about what didn't work, right? Because I know we can all criticize ourselves on what didn't work. I want you to think about your highlights. Before we talk about what you want to change, we start here with the highlights. Because here's the thing, your life is bigger than how December feels right now. December is a heavy, heavy month, right? It's the end of the year stress. It's the holiday pressure. Everybody has to go, and there's a time that everything has to be ready by, and all the presents have to be ready, and we have to be at the traveling place that we're traveling to. And everything is crazy in December, right? We have the family obligations too, and the financial strain. I just laughed with someone. I said, yeah, we go traveling and then we're broke from it. We travel and we're broke, right? It's emotional exhaustion. It really is. The holidays are just heavy. They're heavy, they're loaded. So I want you to mentally take a step back from the holidays right now. And I want you to look back with intention and not from your memory alone. No, 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 no. Let's get some evidence. Grab your phone camera roll out, or grab your calendar if you do by calendars, and I want you to go back month from month from month, and I want you to start, or season by season if that's what you do, and I want you to start with January. January 1st. Look at those photos. Look at the videos that you took. Look at the trips that you took. Look at the moments that you had in your life. Maybe you enjoyed that cup of coffee with the morning sunset. That's a great one, right? I have a couple of those. Or maybe you took a picture of the stars, or what about the smiles that you did that you almost forgot about, those smiles where you're smiling at the camera, right? I want you to remember all those. What are your highlights? You might remember maybe your child moving up a grade in school, or the quiet coffee moment alone, or the absolute perfection meal that brought you joy that you just had to take a picture before you ate it. I do that too. Or the trip that you almost forgot about, or a night where you laughed so hard with someone that your sides hurt. I've had that happen. So these are your highlights, and your highlights matter. Not because everything was perfect, because that doesn't exist, right? But because they prove that you lived, right? They prove that you were happy and you were joyful. So what are those? What are those for you? Because they prove that you showed up. They prove that you experienced joy, even if it was brief. So this first question, it grounds you in gratitude and not denial. All right. So question 1, as a recap, I want you to really think about it. All right. It was, what were the highlights of this past year for you? And I want you to start in January. Question 2, what were the hardest challenges that you faced this year? What were the hardest challenges you faced this year? We're going to get honest with this question. It's not about judging yourself. All right. We're not judging your performance on anything. It is, what is the hardest challenges, or one challenge, many challenges? What are the hardest ones that you faced this year? It's about acknowledging reality, right? Because life isn't life isn't a box of chocolates, right? So think about health. That's a big one, right? Mental health, or your finances. That's also a huge one this year for many people. Your career, relationships. What about purpose, right? Or burnout. A lot of us experienced burnout, and that was a big challenge, or even boundaries, right? What were the challenges that you faced this year? For me, I'll give you mine. One of my biggest struggles this year was putting my own needs first. I was putting my own needs last consistently all year long. I poured into my kids, I poured into my work, and I poured into my community, and I fell last. All right. I was guilty of burnout and all the things. Somewhere along the way, I neglected myself this year. And here's the truth that I had to face with it. If I'm not well, I can't be fully present for anyone else. And that's the truth. That's the hard truth of it. If I'm not well, I can't be fully present. And another challenge I faced, I can say this. I said yes way too much to way too many people and opportunities. I said yes to things that drained me. And I said yes to things that absolutely cluttered my calendar. And I said yes to things that pulled me away from what mattered most. And what happened when I did that? Chaos followed. It followed me. Chaos followed. So I had to declutter my life, and not just physically, but energetically and mentally. So this question gives you permission to say, oh man, that was hard. That was really hard, right? So, what are the hardest challenges that you faced this year? And be honest with it, because honesty is really, truly, truly powerful. All right. So, that was question 2. Question 3 is, what did you learn about yourself this year? And let me tell you something, growth doesn't stop with age. All right. We are constantly evolving, growing, learning, whether you want to admit to it or not. We're always on the cycle of growth and change. It doesn't stop. We're always learning, especially through discomfort. So, one thing I learned about myself is what worked in my 20s doesn't work for me anymore. My body is different, right? My energy is different. My hormones are different. My habits have to evolve with the changing woman that I am, right? So, that's what I learned. And maybe you learned that you're more resilient than you thought you were. Maybe you went through something major, and maybe you went through a major challenge, or maybe you learned that you need stronger boundaries, right? That's a really good one. Or maybe you learned that you've outgrown certain roles, or maybe you've learned that you've been avoiding your intuition this whole year, or maybe you learned that you survived something that you didn't think you could, right? Maybe you learned that you are strong, right? Or maybe you learn that you are strong. See, learning isn't failure here. Learning is information. So, question 3, let's recap question 3. What did you learn about yourself this year? This is a good one to pause and really be proud of yourself, right? And even if it's something that proves that there's a weakness, it doesn't matter. You are learning, evolving, and growing. And that is empowering. All right, moving on to question 4. Question 4 is a double question. All right, here it is. What are you going to start doing, and what are you going to stop doing? It's a dual question. So, this one kind of polarizes me for a little bit. So, let me give you some help with this. Let me give you examples of what you can do with the start option, right? You can start prioritizing your health, or you can start getting your finances in order, or you can start asking for help. You can start being honest. You can start being honest with your friends, your family, the coworker, your spouse, whoever it is, yourself, right? You can start being honest with yourself, and you can also start resting, right? It doesn't have to be hustle 24/7. You can start resting your body. Your body is not the Energizer Bunny. We need to plug ourselves back into our wall, just like our phones, right? So, those are some things that you can start doing. And at the flip side, what you can stop doing, you can stop overcommitting. That's a good one, right? You can also stop complaining without action. That one might sting a little bit, right? We can stop complaining without action. We can stop living in the past because nothing changes in the past. The only thing is we can learn from it. You can stop ignoring your body. I know that's me right there. You can stop ignoring your body. You can stop shrinking yourself. So you don't have to fit into certain corners or spaces to be liked or loved. You can be your own true, authentic person. You can shine even if it blinds people. Stop. You can stop it. You can stop shrinking yourself. So change happens when we replace, not just remove. Change happens when we replace. All right. So, question 4, let's recap. It's a double one. What are you going to start doing? And what are you going to stop doing? All right. Moving on to question 5. What do you want to continue doing? Right? There's an old saying that says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, not everything needs to change. If it's not broke, don't fix it. If it's working great, continue it, right? Some things that worked for me, for example, hello, this podcast, love doing it. I'm going to continue it. Another thing is Ladies Lifestyle Network. I love being a director. I love a sense of community and women empowerment. Sound baths are something I also love. So, meaningful community work for me personally, quality time with my family, my kids. They're not going to stay small forever. So, those are some of the things that worked for me, and I want to continue doing this year. And I want to know, what are yours? What are your non negotiables for 2026? Write them down, celebrate them, and continue them. All right. Now, for the last question, this is question 6. Question 6 is, what are you going to start doing in the next 12 months? What are you going to start in the next 12 months? So, this question is where your vision meets your action. So, this is an action question. The last question makes you get up and actually do it, right? Do the work. So, for me personally, it is completing my Tony Robbins certification. I have been putting that off every single weekend and I haven't been doing it. And for me, I'm going to complete that certification. I also want to publish my first book. I have had that on the back burner forever and it is time. So for me, those are mine. Also, streamlining savings and finances, especially with this economy. I think that that's an important one. And let me see, can I think of another? Reintroducing joy. Oh, I have a good one for that. So me and my husband used to go dancing. We used to, before kids, before even marriage, I think, if I'm thinking right. Before marriage, we used to go dancing before kids. We were just carefree and young and dancing. And I really, really, really miss that because it was so much fun. We would just, twirl and dance and on the dance floor, and it was just me and him, and we were just in our zone, right? And I really want to bring that again. So for me, what I want to start doing are those. So completing Tony Robbins, publishing my first book, streamlining savings and finances, and reintroducing joy, right? So what are yours? What do you miss? Do you miss going somewhere? Do you miss a hobby that you kind of didn't have time for? What do you miss? What lights you up, or what used to light you up back in the day that you want it in your life again? Maybe it's picking up and playing a guitar or joining a band, right? Those are fun things. What has been waiting patiently in the background in your life? And what do you want to give space to? So that is a good one. Number 6 is a really good question in your life to get action. Let's recap that one. What are you going to start in the next 12 months in all areas of your life? All right. Let's recap these 6 questions actually. I want to make sure that you get them all. So, the 6 questions. The number 1 question was, what were the highlights of your past year? Start it from January. You can go into your camera roll, you can go into your calendar, you can go into your journal. What were the highlights of the past year? All right. Question 2 was, what were the hardest challenges you faced this year? Whether it was hardships emotionally, financially, relationship, what were the hardships that you faced this year? All right. What were they? Write them down. Number 3 is, what did you learn about yourself? Did you learn that you're really great at something? Did you learn that you were resilient? What did you learn about yourself that you didn't know or that you're proud of, right? Write that down. What did you learn about yourself? Question 4 is, what will you start and stop doing this year? What will you start doing and what will you stop doing this year? All right, that's the double-edged sword, right? What will you start doing? What will you stop doing? And question 5 is what do you want to continue doing in 2026, right? What was perfectly fine and you want to keep doing it. And the last question is what will you intentionally begin in the next 12 months? And questions 1 through 6 is going to help you with your New Year's resolutions. So you just don't go and say, oh, if I want to do this, and there's nothing to back it up. You haven't done the work, right? These questions will help you do the work to get your New Year's resolutions and also to make it intentional. So you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing, right? That's the key. You need to be willing to have it all figured out because clarity creates momentum. And 2026 doesn't need a new version of you. It just needs a more honest one, right? And more honest one with yourself. So I'm Jessica Cherry. This is She Will Empower. And if you listen to this first on Sunday morning on KWVH 94.3 Wimberley Valley Radio, thank you so much. And remember, you, yes, you are capable of so much more than you ever imagined. You're capable of making your dreams a reality. And if you don't like where you're at, move, reset, and make new again. So thank you so much for being with me today, beautiful friends. If this episode supported you today, if it gave you a new perspective, a moment of relief, or even just one tool that you can tuck into your back pocket, please share it. Share it with a friend, share it with your coworker, or share it with your team, your workspace, a friend, a family member. Because here's the thing in life, we never know who needs to hear this message until we pass it forward. And that, my friends, is how empowerment spreads. And before you head out, I want you to remember this. You're not alone in this journey of life. Everybody is on the same path of life. If you need support, if you need tools, if you need guidance on navigating hard conversations or reclaiming your power, this is what I do. I am Jessica Cherry and I am She Will Empower. It's your space for truth, for tools, for transformation, and you can catch new episodes of the podcast every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Wimberley Valley Radio, 94.3 KWVH. And of course, you can listen anytime, anywhere on your favorite podcast platform. Just search She Will Empower and I will pop right up for you. And if you're an early riser, you can hang out with me on Tuesday mornings on the Wake Up Club on Wimberley Valley Radio from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's cozy, it's fun, we play really great music, and it's the best way to start your day with good vibes and good conversations. I have some really great guests too. And if you're in Central Texas and you feel like your nervous system is just frazzled, especially during the holidays, right? I feel like the holidays really frazzle us. They frazzle me. I don't even shop at the stores anymore, right? I just kind of buy everything online. So if you feel frazzled and you're in Central Texas and you're running on fumes, or you just need an hour for yourself just to breathe again without the stressors of life, come see me in person at Lone Star Sound Bass. You can type Lone Star Sound Bass on social media and I will pop right up for you. So I guide immersive sound bath experiences that are designed to help you settle, soften, and reset your mind, your body, and your spirit. It's one of the most healing things I offer, and I absolutely love, love, love doing this for the community. It's one of the most empowering things that I do. And let me tell you really quickly how I got into sound baths, because that is a really common question that I get. I got into sound baths when a friend of mine said, hey, you are so stressed out. You're frazzled. You are having panic attacks all the time. Come with me to a sound bath. And I said, I have no idea what a sound bath is. Is this the concert? Like, what is this? And she was like, just trust the process, right? Trust the process. So I went, I brought a yoga mat, I laid down, and they gave me an eye mask. And I was like, why am I being blindfolded? So I declined the eye mask and I started listening to the music, and it aligns your meridian. There's a whole rabbit hole. You can Google it. I won't get down on that, but it helps you feel nice and good and it resets you. You know, like when you go into a spa and you hear the nice music in the spa and it makes you feel calm and relaxed. That is the same effect of a sound bath, but with real instruments in person. And it's amazing, beautiful. That's how I got into it. And I became so obsessed with sound baths that I had to buy the instruments. So I have a musical background and I'm also married to an ex-band director. So I bought the instruments and I started playing the instruments. And that was about 3.5 years ago already. It was during the pandemic. And then after that, I just got started on playing. And that's how Lone Star Sound Baths came about. So if you're in Central Texas and you have felt that way, or you're feeling the same way, or you're stressed out, Google Lone Star Sound Baths and I will pop right up for you. All right. So there's that. You can also connect with me through Ladies Lifestyle Network Hayes County, where I host monthly empowerment and networking events every single month. They are so much fun. I just had an event last night. So much fun. You know, a room of empowered ladies, there's nothing that matches it. All right. So these are monthly empowerment and networking events. They are a great community. And every month we highlight powerhouse speakers, local nonprofits, incredible vendors. And in Hayes County, we have some amazing hill country venues. And these events are where women come together and grow. They connect with each other. They want to be seen. They want to rise up together. They want to empower each other and support each other. And let me tell you, I have seen so many business friendships, friend to friend friendships, and really impactful business relationships come straight out of these events. I mean, people have hired people, people collaborate with people, and I love seeing it. I love hearing the amazing things about this community. I love seeing it. I love being a part of it. And if you're craving community like this and you're local in Hayes County, this is your place. And if you want to follow my personal journey with motherhood, entrepreneurship, all the behind the scenes of crazy family life, I've got 2 kids and I'm just like all over the place. You can follow me on Life of a Cherry Wife on social media. All you have to do is type Life of a Cherry Wife and you will see me. So truly, thank you so much for tuning in, for being here, for doing the work, and for choosing to grow even when it's uncomfortable. And before you go today, there's one more thing I want you to do for yourself. Even if it's tiny, I mean, just a small, tiny movement, I want you to do something today that your future self in December 2026 will look back on and say, thank you for doing that. Thank you. That move changed everything. That move set us on a new path. And when I say us, I mean you and you. Remember, tiny moves create big impact. And as always, stay powerful, stay grounded, stay connected, and have the most peaceful, joy filled, amazing holiday season. I'll see you next time. Bye.